Our first reading is from Mirabai's Star, the opening words to ordinary mysticism, a little bit edited down. Welcome to the temple of your regular life, the garden of your days, the harbor where you catch your breath. Your life is holy ground, and you are a mystic. I know you are, because all it means to be a mystic is to have a direct experience of the sacred. You've had zillions of those moments. Maybe you're having one right now. Some resonance in your bone that whispers, yes, I belong. I'm entwined with all that is. A mystic is someone who experiences the divine as an intimate encounter, rather than as an article of faith or something dogmatic. A mystical experience may or may not be connected to an established spiritual tradition, theological structure, or faith community. Mysticism is not about concepts. It's about communion with ultimate reality. Ultimately, reality blooms at the heart of our regular lives. It shines through the cracks of our daily struggles and sings from the core of our deepest desires. A mystic knows beyond ideas, feels deeper than emotions, and is fundamentally changed by what is unchanging. Mysticism is a way of seeing beyond the turmoil, beyond the rights and the wrongs, beyond good guys and villains, to the radiant heart of things. When you decide to walk the path of a mystic, the mundane shows up as miraculous, and your own shortcomings turn out to be your greatest gifts. May we all find meaning in the wonder of our most ordinary moments. So ends the first reading. And I'm going to give you a little bonus reading, one in between as an interlude. Seriously, there's a bunch of us in the group today that are part of a mysticism group here at UUFD. And it all started with a Pine Song conversation around the picnic table. And these are some of my notes from that conversation. Just little word snips. Love central. One. We. Awe. Wonder. Deepening contact with the divine. Use me. Opening. Surrender. Allowing. Invitation. Connection to ancestors. Attention. Focus. Vulnerability. Not knowing. Becoming more courageous. Sacredness. Service. Unexpected growth. So ends my Pine Song notes. Reading from Fourth and Walnut Epiphany of Thomas Merton. It's rather famous, actually. There's a plaque at that intersection. It's no longer called Fourth and Walnut, but you'll still find the plaque there. It's from his Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander. In Louisville, at the corner of Fourth and Walnut, in the center of a shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people, that they were mine and I was theirs, that we could not be alien to one another even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness. This sense of liberation from an illusory difference was such a relief and such a joy to me that I almost laughed out loud. If only everyone could realize what they are. But it cannot be explained. There's no way of telling people that they're all walking around shining like the sun. Then it was as if I suddenly saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depth of their hearts, where neither sin nor desire nor self-knowledge can reach. The core of their reality, the person that each one is in God's eyes. If only they could all see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. No more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. So ends this reading. Earlier, I mentioned that we had that conversation at Pine Song. Some of you might not know, Pine Song is our summer retreat out at Vallecito. And that conversation grew into an adult spiritual ministry group formed out of that as a book discussion group. We discussed the book Mystical Hope, subtitled Trusting in the Mercy of God. In this book, author Cynthia Bourgeault explores the idea that mystical hope is something that arises from within us, not as a result of our own effort, but as the, quote, the fruit of our ability to consciously abide, end quote. And that's what she calls in the mercy of God. This book sparked my curiosity about mysticism, and that ability to consciously abide is perhaps one way to define mysticism. Mysticism resists any rigid universal definition because it spans across all spiritual traditions, from Christian contemplatives to Hindu yogis, including Buddhist meditative traditions, Sufi poetry, Jewish esoteric traditions, and Taoist practices. In general, mysticism refers to practices and experiences aimed at direct, intimate communion or union with the divine or the ground of being. It's a way of seeing beyond ideas to the radiant heart of things. Ordinary mysticism author Mirabai Starr says, guess what? The God you don't believe in is the same God I don't believe in. My God transcends everything, and everything I could conceive of, and lives inside of everything I know, do, and am. She goes on to say that mystical experiences may or may not be connected to religion, theology, or a faith community, and that such experiences really are not so rare. It's more about presence and feeling fully attending in reality. You could be watching something profound, like the birth of a child, or maybe being with someone who's dying. Or you might simply be watching the moon rise, walking a city street like Thomas Merton did, or appreciating the loving help of a librarian. What matters is what the experience does for you and to you, bringing some transformation of your inner experience. Ultimately, we make meaning out of experiences. As Cynthia Bourgeault says, it's worthy of our attention if it bears fruit at the psychological level. The point is not escapism or transcendence. Rather, it's about transformation. For some, They might describe it as the soul being in communication with God. My sister, who y'all know is a Benedictine nun, says that when she was young, she would talk to God while ironing our dad's hankies. He wanted his hankies ironed, believe it or not, and he had a bunch of them. But that was quiet, centered, rhythmic work, which gave space for such an intimate conversation. Others might describe it as our conscious self connecting with the cosmic consciousness. Or as Mirabai Starr says, it's about communion with ultimate reality, opening to an inner surrender, letting go of egoic thinking, dropping into pure being with reality. Meditation and centering prayer, these are all ways to foster a mystical experience. Sometimes, though, it might come as an unexpected visitor when, as Mirabai Starr explains, quote, firestorms ravage the landscape of your life and you suddenly find yourself standing on holy ground, end quote. Maybe a person in your life passes away and you're forced to explore who you are now without them. Maybe you lost a job of 24 years. Or you have a serious car accident. Or you learn of an unexpected cancer diagnosis. How we attend to our inner life during these disruptions makes a big difference. Sometimes, these derailments are the very thing we need to force us to correct our soul's trajectory. Mirabai suggests, quote, you take your seat in the free fall, end quote. To pause, to breathe, allow, and take stock of the present moment. Get curious about what is. Honor the beauty of your broken heart. Look for the luminescence behind the darkness. Even in these challenging moments, we can hold an intention to meet reality just as it is and allow the white heat of transformation to shift our inner landscape. We become a different person by being willing to walk through that fire. While there is often mystery and unexpected wonder with mystical experiences, we can engage in practices that prepare the ground of our inner landscape, priming our life for such numinous experiences. The role of quieting the mind is key. Meditation, contemplative prayer, or simply silent inner listening on a regular basis has long been touted as a central spiritual practice. A posture of openness and willingness to receive whatever comes is also vital. It is a humble and sweet surrender, a letting go of control, opening into a deeper trust, and releasing attachment to outcome. This summer, I had what one would call a mystical experience while camping. It came about 20 minutes after I had asked for guidance regarding a pivotal question. I was speaking to my inner guide, a voice that has been with me all my life and most often guides me at pivotal moments in my life. I just said, it's been a little while since I've heard from you. I just want to know if I'm on the right track here. This time, the answer came through a simple dewdrop on an aspen leaf. It opened me to a deeply unitive experience of the oneness of reality. a non-dual moment of grace in this beautiful cosmos. A simple ask, a beautiful affirmation, just sitting quietly in my camp chair over my morning coffee. Taking time out or going into periods of retreat and rest can also be a doorway in. Retreats offer spaciousness where one can read, spend time in silence, write in a personal journal. Fostering one's psychological health is also important. Working with a therapist and doing deep inner work can help remove any barrier or blocks, such as fear or anxiety, that can prevent our ability to receive. Working through our fears of change, relieving our anxieties about the unknowns in life, this can open us, make us more willing to receive a mysterious, unjudging love, and bring us a profound sense of deep belonging. Serendipity and synchronicity are also threshold moments that transcend all reason. In these times, pay attention, listen, and act. Service to humanity with other beings that we share this planet with can also be a road to mystery, where love, compassion, ethical living, and service to the poor are all vehicles of personal transformation. When we give of ourselves from that place of attentive presence, that posture of being with reality just as it is, our service becomes spiritually nourishing. Openness to mystery, profound humility, awe before the unknown, paying attention and being willing to listen foster a renewed sense of wonder. All these are postures we can hold in our daily lives, and if we can hold them, anyone can have that everyday kind of mystical experience. Cynthia Bourgeault describes mystical hope as, quote, "What happens when we touch that innermost ground, and it floods forth into our being as strength and joy. Divine love itself courses through our being like a lightning, finding a clear path to the ground." End quote. By the way, our Mysticism group will be continuing with a new and different book, which is yet to be determined. If you are interested, you can check with Werner Heiber. And it says pause. It says pause right here. With certain human experiences, I'm sorry, I'm teasing. With certain human experiences, words are simply inadequate. That was serendipity, by the way. But I hope I've given you a taste of something that you might be able to name better next time when it happens, and trust that it can and will happen, even in the midst of your everyday life. May it be so. Blessed be. Ashe.